Happy April 1st, everyone. Stacy got me today. I want to mention this because it was so wonderful. Where she was saying, what have you been with us 4 times now, Stacy? She said that she might not be able to show up today because she was going to be doing a 30-day Buddhist retreat. And I was like, whoa. And then she said, April Fools. And I was like, oh my God, I was totally spinning on this. It was awesome. So good one, Stace. Thank you for that. So my name is Denise Smith. This is a group that we call our metaverse. It is a community that we are successfully building that is based on coming together through loving kindness, or metta, METTA. It is absolutely a direct challenge to anything else meta, as in META, like these false glasses that put you into a world that somebody else takes you to. Yes, in meditation, especially Mahayana Buddhist meditation, we do a lot of visualizing in order to realize certain mind states or emotions. But I prefer at this point, and you don't have to prefer it, it's up to you, but I prefer to be the one driving where it's going to take me. Maybe there's going to be some amazing virtual realities that when we imagine it and describe it, it will show us that world that we are imagining, perhaps. And that would be kind of insane or cool or neat or interesting. But right now, I just feel like when we go into our own selves and we tap this, I like calling it kind of the divine potential in all of us, that we can really come to realize how amazing we are, how amazing this human life is that we have, and we can really help our own minds heal and heal and heal and heal even more and more and more to different levels. Mahayana Buddhism, which is the sect of Buddhism that I study the most, believes that we can purify our minds to the point of becoming enlightened. Enlightened, my translation of enlightened is that we take all not healthy or delusional mindsets and we pick them out of our mind like weeds by saying that thought is not serving me right now. That thought doesn't need to spend a lot of time here. And we learn to pick that weed and let the flowers grow instead, to let the thoughts that do serve us grow instead. So thank you for being with us tonight. It is absolutely my pleasure. I am so grateful for all of you and your presence and your input, and that this class kind of works on an interactive style, not a you just sit there and listen. I just talk away. Now, I am going to be sharing some insight or ideas from a book tonight, and I am going to be reading from that book. The book is called Freedom Through Understanding. It's by Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa, who are both passed away. Lama Zopa actually just passed away a year ago. And this is produced or published through the Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive, LYWA. And if you go to the Lama Yeshe Wisdom Archive, they have lots of books that are available for free. And you say, yes, I would like to pay for shipping, and they'll send you the books that you would like to have, and you can look into. If you want to talk to me about any of them, I can share the ones that I've read and see if that's something that's useful to you if you're interested in some. This one's one of the thicker ones, and it's not that thick, right? So there we go. They have ones that are a lot thinner. And when I did a weekend retreat in Santa Cruz at the Land of Medicine Buddha, they just had a couple of them by the beds where you slept at night. And so you thought, oh, I'll pick this up and read it. And one of the books that I really loved from it, if you want to get one, is called The Peaceful Stillness of the Silent Mind. Like it's something you can't even fathom in the first place. But then it kind of explains what that even means or how that's possible. So what I want to make sure we do, which I think is so, so valuable to us, is to do our check-ins with each other. By the way, you might see Marie and Simone popping in and out. They are on a mission to do some things right now, so they're not stable at one place. It might be, I don't know how they're going to be trying to come in or out. So we, again, thank you very much for some schedule adjusting. I would like to try to keep us really consistent now so that we can rely on this as a resource when we need to, and that it's available to us without too many gaps in between. And I would love to have your check-ins be, what was it like to not come together for a little while? And what's been going on with you? So it looks like if there's only a few of us, we could probably have 3 minutes each if you'd like. And if you'd like to just share a check-in, like what have you been doing for the past little while and what's been on your mind? And I'll remind us all that when we're doing our check-ins, that the response to check-ins is extremely minimal. It's just basically a thank you or a real appreciation that somebody's willing to share what they've been experiencing in the past couple of weeks. But it's no suggesting or fixing or somebody should or anything like that. It's just a place for us to have what's been going on inside of us, have a place to live outside of us. Oh, would anybody like to start? Simone, do you want to start? I see you're unmuted, but I don't hear you. I can't hear her. Gwen or Stace, would you guys like to do a check-in?
I'll do a check-in.
Oh, that's Wendy. I'm like, wait, who's that?
Yeah. Who's talking?
Hi, Gwen.
Hi. It's so nice to be back.
Oh.
And so what were the questions? What it felt like not to
What was
be
it like
part
to
of
have,
it?
like, instead of a consistency, there was like this miss created by me?
Yeah.
What does it
I
feel
had
like?
a little FOMO on Friday nights
Mm.
because we have we typically like go out to dinner, or, it's nothing fancy, but just like that's kind of like end of the week and time together.
Yeah.
And so we usually kind of do that. And so that was, and I felt torn, like, I really want to do this, but also I don't want to break our cycle of,
Yeah.
kind of like what we've been doing for years, going out every Friday night. So,
Mm.
but it was good. I've been traveling a little bit and it's been a busy month. And so I still have been doing good. We had a fabulous week in Cabo San Lucas where we really just didn't do a lot. We didn't leave the resort very much. And I think I've mentioned this before, but the one thing that if there's one thing I've taken out of these classes was the exercise of looking at yourself. Remember we did that a long time ago?
Yeah.
And I do that all the time. So
Ah.
like if I'm not feeling grounded, that's always has stuck with me somehow. And I did it before we went on the trip. And I thought, what if I could see this person, myself, what do I need? And because you kind of just go, 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 and don't really think about what you're doing. And I was like, we really just need to just have downtime where, and we did that and it was lovely. So it's been, and then we had a big travel weekend last weekend and this past weekend and didn't get home until 1:30 last night in the middle of the night. So it was a little long night, but great to see family. And, there's a lot going on there in terms of a lot of emotions just with Gabby picking the school that she's going to go to next year. And she was so nervous to go to California and tell everybody it wasn't a California school. So there was that. And, it's just like all of these things that you teach us, I'm trying. And in my Calm app, my question always is, and I texted you and Stacy about this when I was in Mexico, is like during these classes and during when I'm doing the Calm app, I feel so good. I feel so grounded. And so how do you carry that feeling? And even when we were in Cabo and I just felt so like relaxed and free, like letting the river flow and just letting it, you just go where you feel. And my question always is, how do you do that when things aren't so calm and things aren't so feeling grounded and things aren't all of those things, because it's just not going to be like that all the time. So that's what I personally would like to work on. And because I very quickly end up being in the tailspin, so how to pull all of that through. I had a discussion with a friend that said, and I said, I think we should do our meditation, learn how to do meditation classes in the middle of New York City, where there's like a lot of chaos and things going around. And how do you focus and be calm? Because it's so controlled in the environment that I have when I do it. So it's kind of a little bit all over the place, but that's where I'm at. So I'm glad it's back to Mondays. I missed being all together. And I talk to Stacy and Nisi regularly, but I missed you. Marie, it's nice to see you again. It's nice to meet you, Simone. And nice to be back.
Simone, I don't know if I let you know, Wendy's my cousin and she lives in Colorado.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And Simone is Marie's sister, Wendy.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Yeah. Would you like to do a check-in, Simone? Thank you, Wen.
I guess I could try. I don't really have a lot to share, I don't think. Just
We're doing
my
like 3-minute
sister's.
ones. I think you were dropping off and coming back in. So we're doing about a 3-minute one. So take your time. Or less or whatever.
Okay. I met my sisters and can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I've had anxiety and depression. I'm doing a little bit better in my body, I guess, but not really in my mind so much. Yeah, my mind seems to close off most possibilities, and I don't really do well being by myself or focusing on much. So just yeah, it's been challenging to be here, and I'm not really even sure what I'm doing with my life at this point. And just, I mean, wanting to be connected, but I guess I don't know if it's trauma or medication, but I'm just not, it's not, I mean, I'm only really just taking an antidepressant, but I'd like to be more connected to people. So that's kind of been really difficult, even people I've known for a lot of years, so I just don't feel the same. I want to be able to connect with care that I had I've had other times in my life, So that's scary because I don't, I feel like really bad about myself most of the time. That I'm not, I don't, I don't really have a sense of things mattering too much, I guess. So, and anyway, yeah, so I'm just trying to go along. I don't, it's weird because I don't feel like I'm not making decisions, and I just, anyway, yeah, it's been difficult.
Yeah.
So, I guess that's about it, but thanks.
Thank you, Simone. Thank you. And we are with you, and we are connected with you, and we are together. Thank you. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. Stace, would you like to do a check-in?
Sure. I missed the sessions, of course, but it did give me an opportunity. Well, actually, we did that 2-day Buddhist workshop, and that was really, I think, 6 hours. So that kind of, there's a lot to learn there. That was a great alternative for a while, and there was so much material from that I still need to go back and work on. But I just really keep trying to integrate what I've been learning, and mostly acceptance and compassion. So that's kind of become my 2024 focus. There's so much more that I could go back and work on, but I'm going to try to simplify it to acceptance and compassion for now. And, it is challenging when emotions arise, and I like, it feels like everything has gone out the door. And how do I tap back into that when you're, imbalanced for a moment or whatever? But you can get back there, right? So, but I've been reading more. There's a book I've been reading about trauma, and it's called something about like the body keeps track.
Body keeps the score.
That book?
By Basil Van Check.
Yeah, I just started reading it. It's very, very interesting.
The first 75% of that is like, okay, enough. But the end of it's kind of good. You don't have to read every story that he experienced. You could
good, because it's really tiny font.
Yeah, I know, you could skip some of them, and then you could get to like the what are we supposed to do about this part at the end.
Okay.
Because it's kind of his airing out of all the experiences that he if I think it was this where he's talking about the stories from each person that he met with, right? Or that he counseled.
Yeah, he said there's really, it all came down to three treatment plans, and every person might have a combination of those three, and now I can't remember what they are, but medication and talk therapy and different things. But I'm just in the very, very beginning. It looks like a good book. So yeah,
thank you. Thank you. Simone, do you want to see if Marie wants to check in? Or do you want to keep her safe?
You told them she's gonna pass because she's driving.
Okay, good choice in my opinion.
Did you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to, as you know, I have been enrolled in 4 different all Buddhist classes right now. And so it's been 8 hours per week into these classes. Karuna's just ended, which was on Mondays. And so now it's 6. And I think I've got like 3 more weeks of those for now. And with that, as each time that we come together, we set our intention and our motivation. Our intention being, what will I do for this next period of time? And our motivation being, why will I do it? Right? So each time we come together, I invite us to set, I'm adjusting my computer here, to set our intention and our motivation. Like when we think, what will I do while I'm here? And why will I do that? Now, when I get into these classes that are beyond mindfulness, and they go into Buddhist philosophy and Buddhist theory, mindfulness is kind of a Western phenomena. And mindfulness tries to say, let me just learn how to be aware of what's going on in my own thoughts. With Buddhism, they say mind. With Western, we say mind. And it's kind of different when we say mind. And when somebody goes, what is my mind thinking? With Buddha, when we're talking about the seeing the divine potential in each one of us, that comes from this mind, from the heart mind. So I'm going to just bring up a couple quick thoughts that the brain is not the mind. Okay? The brain is not the mind. The brain is a physical, touchable, tangible muscle entity thing inside of our skull that has like different synapses and connections within it. And the different things that we do and think and visualize and meditate on and contemplate on actually affect the different synapses in our mind. For the longest time in our brain, excuse me, for the longest time, we were taught that, you know, up to age 25, your brain can learn and grow and is kind of elastic, and then you're done. And that has been proven to be incorrect now. Now it has been scientifically proven that our brain continually forms and reforms. And so in that, as we practice healthy mindsets, we actually heal the muscle of our brain. And so the more we practice that healthy mindset, the more we heal a pathway that might not have been working in a healthy manner, the more we learn how to set ourselves onto these meditative mindsets or states, and I like to call them exercises. For me, that feels kind of more relatable, right? The more we can repair our own brain to work better and help our mind and brain and body connection. So I'm going to leave it at that for right now, because I wanted to talk before we set our own motivation, excuse me. I want to read this part by Lama Yeshe, okay? It's going to be a little bit long, so I'm going to read a couple of pages just to start off with it, okay? And I'm going to kind of go like this so people know that I'm reading while I'm doing it. In the terminology of Buddhism, whoops, a little bit advance at the end. Hold on one second. Meditation isn't just a mental game where you sublimate one mundane state into another. When we meditate, we're not joking, playing with hallucinations. The purpose of meditation is to gain joyful inner freedom and everlasting peace. Beautiful, right? Who doesn't want that? joyful inner freedom and everlasting peace. And in Buddhist terminology, they call those nirvana and enlightenment. Okay, sometimes we have to have it more in a word that makes more sense to us. When we're talking about nirvana and enlightenment, we're like, we're not God. What are you talking about? When we talk about everlasting joy, we can relate to it a little bit better. And peace, we can relate to it a little bit better. But the words don't matter that much. What you have to know is what kind of goal you're aiming to achieve. So the mental attitude I'm talking about, the best kind of motivation, is what Mahayana Buddhism calls bodhicitta. I don't think we've talked about that word very much. Bodhicitta is the enlightenment attitude. Now listen to this, it's pretty deep. Total dedication of your body, speech, and mind to the benefit of others. We're always in this finding ourself, and here comes Rachel, and you know, being ourself, and who are we in these explorations of self. And hello Rachel, yay, we're reading a little something out of a book that we just started. Okay.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
I'm glad to see you. It's wonderful to see you.
Happy to be on.
Nisi, can you repeat that?
The after the enlightenment one.
The yeah.
The mental attitude I'm talking about is the best kind of motivation. We're talking about the motivation that you get into meditation with, Rachel, makes the meditation useful or not. Okay, so I'm reading from Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa's book, and it's about motivation. It's going to be a little bit of reading. Is that okay with you, Rachel, if we're going to read something directly out of a Buddhist book? Thumbs up.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Yes, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, great.
Elated to hear it.
Thank you. So they're saying that the best motivation you could have is the motivation called bodhicitta. Now it's called that in the Mahayana Buddhist sect. Okay. And bodhicitta is the enlightenment attitude, which means total dedication of your body, speech, and mind to benefit others. Remember how sometimes we'll set that motivation, and we'll set one motivation for ourselves. And then I invite you to set one altruistic motivation, which is a motivation for others. So in these 4 Buddhist classes that I am in right now, there's no starting with motivation for self. You go right over that, and it's immediately, what is your motivation for others? And it's going to explain a lot more about that right now. If you meditate with that kind of mind, your mind automatically slips into the vehicle that will carry you to your desired destination, enlightenment, without delay. If you don't, if your subconscious motivation is selfish, then even if you think intellectually, I'm doing this meditation in order to realize enlightenment, you're dreaming. It's not bodhicitta. This is Lama Yeshe who's talking. Also, some people think that the only kind of meditation is single-pointed concentration and strive for years to attain it. But because they are motivated by self-attachment, even if they do achieve this level of concentration, their mind is still agitated. Agitated, easily distracted, pushed around by something else, not able to guide itself, agitated. That can happen because they're meditating with the wrong kind of motivation, selfishness. Bodhicitta is where you totally sacrifice yourself for the benefit of others. When I say sacrifice, I don't mean it in the Hindu sense of blood sacrifice, human or animal, such as we often see in Nepal. It's not like that. I'm talking about you're sacrificing the actions of your body, speech, and mind with knowledge, wisdom, totally dedicating them to the benefit of others. Does anybody have any question when I get into the next paragraph? Because we got 2 pages we're going to read. That was about 4 paragraphs. We good? As long as you have that dedicated enlightenment attitude, the pure innermost thought of bodhicitta, no matter what your everyday actions, they're automatically beneficial. So we're so worried about what we did and how we did it. And what's being said here to me is it's the intention, it's our motivation of why are we doing what we're doing? And if we're doing it with the motivation to help all others or to cause no harm and help others, that whatever we're doing will have a benefit because of the motivation, not necessarily because of the action. Similarly, your meditation practice is also successful and free of frustration. Often you meditate with much superstition, with the expectation of easily attaining the highest goal of enlightenment. That's a misconception. You're psychologically sick from the very beginning. When you begin with a sick mind, you can only finish up sick. Of course, dedicating every day of your life, your entire body, speech, and mind to others is one of the most difficult things you can do. But if you can do it, your life automatically has purpose. I love that. For so long, I was like, what is my purpose? I could go to work, I could make money, I could have a car or a house. Well, what's my purpose? And to wake up saying, today, I want to take my body, my speech, and my mind and dedicate it to doing all I can to help others. Wow, it gives you such purpose. Like you end up picking up litter and smiling at people and letting them in front of you in traffic. And you're doing all these things that you're not just doing, like it has this great merit that comes from it because it was done with this motivation that was intentional. When your life has purpose, you naturally experience satisfaction and enjoyment. True enjoyment comes from within, from your mental attitude, not from without or from single-pointed concentration. You can't concentrate in the busy confusion of your workplace. You can't sit cross-legged in the supermarket. You have to deal with people. But when you do deal with people, if you have the pure thought dedicated to others, they automatically give you good vibrations because of the projection in your own mind. If, however, your mind is clouded with thoughts such as, these people are no good, you automatically have a negative projection to others or of others. That leads you to always blame them for how you feel. He hurt me, she hurt me. Automatically, nobody nobody else hurts you. Now that one's always one that we think about a little bit, right? Because you're like, what are you talking about? But you hurt yourself because you lack the knowledge, wisdom to understand yourself. You haven't integrated wisdom into your everyday life. Now, what we were taught as wisdom was kind of intelligence, right? In this wisdom, it's what is the weed and what is the flower? What do I want to keep in my garden? What don't I? So it's a different type of wisdom. We're not supposed to just get this immediately. In the terminology of Buddhism, self-cherishing is schizophrenic. I know that Western psychology thinks schizophrenia is something else, interprets it differently, but Buddhism thinks selfish motivation itself is schizophrenic and the cause of all mental illness. which is why they don't say I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this for you. Right? It just skips right over the me and goes straight to you. And then he says, experiment for yourself. I'm not saying you have to accept what I'm telling you just because I said it. And I love that of this teacher, because he tells all the time, you don't have to believe what I'm saying. Go ahead and check it, right? When you get up in the morning, let's try this, okay? When you get up in the morning, instead of thinking how difficult your mundane life is, generate a strong motivation. Today, I'm going to totally devote the energy of my body, my speech, and my mind to others. If you really dedicate yourself in that way, your day will go smoothly. Try it out. I'm going to leave it there. Okay. Kind of interesting. Really, like, let's get off of what's not working and let's get real about this push. Isn't that a trip? So I would love to hear where you guys went. That part sounded really goofy, or this part makes sense to me, or that seems super hard, right? What would it be? In classes that I've had around this, some people go, what do you mean dedicate my body? Especially if they've had their body violated in some way. What do you mean dedicate my body? And it just means if we are, our body can open the door for somebody. Our body can plant somebody else's garden for them. Our body can help them wash their car. So our body can be of benefit to others in ways that are safe to us. We don't have to unwisely dedicate our body to somebody. And this, we have to remember that beautiful saying in Buddhism, which is slowly, slowly. This doesn't mean drop everything we know right now and overnight dedicate everything we've got to somebody when we're not sure about it, right? When we're not sure, we be that log. We say nothing, do nothing, until we can say, wait a minute, if I did this, I could feel like I'm dedicating my body in a way that is safe and respectful, that doesn't scare me or create memories of something that wasn't pleasant for me. And I can feel like I'm doing something for somebody else. We, because we are from a society that teaches us selfishness, have to let go slowly, slowly. Okay? Give ourselves permission to start on this new idea slowly. Now, for me, I get like, yeah, but I've suffered enough and I'm over it. And I want every class I can take and I want to know everything that I can and I want enlightenment tomorrow, right? Like, I'm pretty grasping on this. I want to know how to spontaneously have compassion for people, even when I am triggered. I don't have that. I certainly don't have that. So I just keep learning and trying and learning and trying at the level I can. So the wisdom part also is deciding our own level that we're willing to do this in. So what did you guys think about Lama Yeshe's take on selfishness is actually schizophrenic and dedicating our body, speech, and mind entirely to others? What does that cause in your thoughts? Anybody?
So to me, it's kind of goes against the new age thinking, right? The law of attraction, focusing on ourselves first, filling up our cups first, so that then we can allow ourselves to give freely to others. However, I was raised more on Christian mentality, and it was always Jesus, then others, then you, right? So it was always putting others first before yourselves. So to hear this, I haven't heard this before from a Buddhist perspective, is to think of others before you think of yourself. And to say it's even schizophrenic is like, wow, there's a real deep sickness that could be lingering here. And pretty potent things that you're saying, Denise. And I'm just kind of sitting with it and reflecting on just the years of meditation that I've done, and the teachings that I've been taught, more with like Kundalini yoga and, you know, having our own inner guidance systems, our own goddess within us, our own power sources. It's just different than what I've heard in the past. So
this
I'm a little
goes
shocked.
on. This is an excerpt.
Okay.
Right. And it goes on, and the wisdom part brings in the Kundalini. The wisdom part brings in awareness of ourself, checking in with ourself, understanding where we are, not getting ourselves in a position that would trigger us, and now we're incapable of being consistent with what we're doing. Right? So we have to honor what we're capable of in order to be able to give. But the motivation behind that might be that we need to honor ourselves so that when we are giving, we can be consistent with it and not confuse someone, because confusing somebody would be causing an agitated mind to them.
Where are the healthy boundaries, and how do you set that up then, Denise, as well?
Yeah. And they're trying to say that we start to contemplate it in analytical meditation. We say, if this is something I want to consider that may seem useful, or that I want to attempt to have an open mind to myself, where could I start? Where would I see my block? What would feel different if is my motivation for others when I am aligning my chakras to a place of openness? And I guess if we get to the point where we are feeling spacious, generous, all of the things that we can, when we have ourselves in line in where we would like ourselves to be, if we do that so that we can give to others better, I think that's one of the ways that they're promoting it, which for me logically comes back from, of course, we take care of ourselves and then we take care of others. That's what we're saying, right? It's very back and forth contemplation with this stuff. That's why they're saying, they always say to me, do not buy what I'm saying and just run with it. And don't take this as okay, that's what they said, so I'm doing it. Don't do that at all. Sit with it. Think of it. Think, what thought did this provoke in me? What feeling did this provoke in me? Why does it not feel right? Is there a way it does feel right? Is this something I just don't want to accept at this point? And then honor yourself. Honor that comfort level, and don't adopt anything until you go, oh, that's what they were talking about. Okay. And that's where I just thought, okay, if I read a little piece out of this, we go, what? Maybe I wonder if I go, there's a little bit more on this. You guys want me to see if I can finish this one section with a couple more paragraphs?
Please.
Yeah. let me see. Okay, so we ended up with try it out. Okay. He's saying today I'm going, wake up in the morning and say, today I'm going to totally, and thank you for that share, Rachel, a lot. Today I'm going to totally devote the energy of my body, speech, and mind to others. If you really dedicate yourself in that way, your day will go very smoothly. Try it out. Okay, so that's an invitation from him to try it out. That doesn't mean we have to. And we can just see what would that thought process do if we woke up in the morning and did that. Then it says, the human problem is that people have to interact with each other. And when problems arise, as they inevitably do, they blame others for them. This is a misconception. So bodhicitta isn't just an idea. It's a psychological method for treating the sick mind. Also, physical actions aren't necessarily the best way of benefiting others. You need to investigate for yourself what the best way of helping others is. Actually, hunger or physical suffering are not the main human problem. To help others in the most effective way, you have to discover human potential. And not just human potential, even every insect has a mind, and therefore the potential to be led into everlasting peaceful enlightenment. You need to see that. Instead of suffocating yourself emotionally with thoughts like, I want to help others, they need help, I can see that they're suffering, but I can't see that I can do anything about it. When you can see the potential of the mind, the human mind, the innate beauty of human beings and humans' infinite possibilities, you begin to see the solution to any problem that might arise. To the Mahayana way of thinking, every human problem has a solution. For a start, every human problem has a cause. Problems don't arise without a cause. Cause and effect, karma. Okay. And if you eradicate a cause, its effect also disappears, doesn't it? That's scientifically verifiable. So these are big Buddhist subjects, right? But I thought Karuna always says, if we just make people feel good, we're not necessarily helping. So sometimes it's, let's provoke a little something of, what are they talking about? How does this feel? Now, I heard a podcast today that I would be happy to share with you guys by Richie Davidson. He's at like the University of Wisconsin at Madison, and he runs like a healthy mind whole thing out there. He's like in the 70s with Ram Dass and John Kabat-Zinn. Those were his main meditation teachers, and he's been practicing for a super long time. And he said in his podcast something to the likes of, if we just practice mindfulness rather than a whole meditation practice where we look at the what was it? It's not the way we identify self, but it's the where the self comes from in our mind. I forgot how he words this. The nature of self, where we look at the nature of self in the first place. It will be more beneficial to our entire body and to our entire everything with all beings, rather than just one part of us. He said, if we practice mindfulness alone, it would be like going to the gym and every single time only working out your chest. So he's known for measuring mind with MRI and having people meditate and seeing where these different things are changing mind. And he's one of the people that came up with the idea that we can change our own mind through certain practices. And he says what has not been proven and what has been proven. And he said it's really important to show people what hasn't been proven yet. Our Western mind science studies matter. And when we're in this world that is not a tangible thing like a brain, we keep grasping to call mind brain because it's a matter that's measurable. And he said that he was asked by the Dalai Lama to use the same things that they do to study sadness and depression and anxiety, to use those same measurements, but to study compassion and to study loving kindness. Like, start studying what makes people healthy. And so it's super exciting. It's definitely neuroscience, and it's neuroplasticity that they talk about, and how the brain can still form itself. I was in a class recently, I don't know if I told you guys this already, with Robina. Robina Cortine is this Buddhist nun teacher that I like. And somebody was a therapist in her class. And the therapist was asking, you know, I have a couple that I'm working with, and that couple, you know, the husband's a narcissist. And so I kind of know what I should do with the wife, but, you know, the husband's a narcissist. And Robina was like, what's your question? And she said, well, I could imagine using all these theories with the wife. And Robina's extremely sharp talker. Hold on, darling. Are what you saying right now is that because he's got a diagnosis that you can't help his mind? That he can't help his own mind because he got a diagnosis one time? No, you got it wrong, honey. And she's just like super adamant, like, forget all these diagnoses. Those are one person's opinion of something that can put you in a box, and then you're in this box, and there you lie, and now you identify yourself as this sick person, and so nobody can help you, and you're stuck. And that is a desperate place to be that none of us wants anybody to be in. And we've all felt some part of that, at least in our lives, for some time. So for me to hear that, wait a minute, if I wake up and I practice and I'm going to try, you know, okay, let me try every day. You know how hard it is to wake up and go, okay, like, you don't wake up perky every day. I certainly do not wake up perky every day. And I'm supposed to just go, all right, let's just serve every body, speech, and mind others. You know, like, you really have to motivate yourself to try to even go, can I even think that? I just want a cup of coffee or my little mushroom coffee right now. You know, like, it is extremely hard to start down this stuff. But what she's saying, and what she's not the only one saying, and what these scientists are saying, is forget the diagnosis. Everybody with enough practice, just like, and she uses this a lot, if you want to learn how to cook, you don't just hop into the kitchen and now you're a cook. You have to practice, and you practice over and over and over until all of a sudden, like I did explain here before, like, I can do chocolate chip cookies in 11 minutes, like ready to go out of the oven, warm off the top of my head. That's just because I've practiced a lot of times, right? She uses Federer for tennis. He can be a great tennis player, but he didn't just get great and then he stopped there and he was always great. He had to exercise this tennis muscle over and over and over to stay great or to get better. And that's what she invites us all the time that we have to do with meditation. But how hopeful is that? She uses piano a lot too. You can get up to the piano and you can say, dink, dink, like that. The first morning I woke up and said I would dedicate my body, speech, and mind to others, my piano song sounded like dink, dink, right? And then the next day it might have sounded like cling, you know? And the next day it might have gone back to dink, dink, because I didn't practice for a little while. And then sooner or later I could play a song if I had the music to guide me. And the more I practiced it, the better I got. And then, like Wendy, I could play Fur-Elise without looking at my music. And there it was, sounding like a song. But it was because of practice. It was because I became familiar with it. It was because I understand where my boundaries are and what my motivation is. I understand what this feels slowly, slowly like I can do. Because we're letting go of things we see ourselves as or that we are familiar with as we take on this new attempt of motivation or what is behind our own behavior. That is like the hardest thing to do, is change our own behavior. But if it did, and it kept our minds in, for me, the more I practice, the happier I am. Like long term, I just enjoy the day. Even, I mean, I'm going to explain something. Yesterday, so I'm in an Airbnb that we have. And yesterday I came home from Easter to have 8 people and 3 police officers in our Airbnb with a fire truck and ambulance outside. And it was like, what is going on here? And what they told me was, and this is fair for everybody to know, he's renting your place and this is his privacy. You don't get to know. Okay. And let me tell you, that was not comfortable. Not in any way was that comfortable. I call it, I forget who I learned it from, maybe Dan Siegel. When your child is in the red zone, don't try to talk to them about what they should do. Like, get them out of the red zone into a blue zone, a more calm zone, and then try to talk to them. And let me tell you, I was in a red zone going, what do you mean you can't tell me what's going on in my own house when we've got all these people here and police people? Like, what? It was a big deal. We're never told exactly what was going on here. We know that they're out and they're not here anymore and they're not coming back. But it was just, okay. I was trying to be compassionate to the police officers, and I was so mad that they wouldn't tell me what was going on in our own house. Like, I was asking myself, what am I defending? Am I defending pride, my own pride? Am I defending my private property, which I love sharing? And I, if we could all share all of our property all the time, I think I might be of that mindset, but we're never going to go there again. It was, and so I was just like, what can I practice? What do I know? What tools are here? How can I make any part of this in service of others? Don't like the way they're talking to me. I don't like that this is happening. I don't like that my son is really upset. He was crazy upset about it. My husband was trying to deal with it. It was not fun. And then I got to a point today of being able to just, the guy had a mental issue go on that they had to respond to, and it was Easter. And today I was capable of sending a message that just said, may you get the help that you need. And we hope that you are okay. And to send a message of that effect. But yesterday I was not of that mindset. Right? So we do these, up and down emotions, big emotions, small emotions, work. Rachel, I got back into selling a few houses recently and just really felt the inevitable greed in real estate. And it got to me, and it was, somebody tried to accuse me of trying to do something greedy, and I ended up later on crying about it. Like, if they only knew me, it was like, because we're in that field doesn't mean we're all like that. I mean, it's our job to focus on money sometimes. And so we do so in service of others. We do whatever we can, as much as we can, in whatever we're doing in service of others. And Simone, I want to bring you into this because I've heard you a few times, and I love that you say this. Like, when things aren't feeling like they used to, I've heard you say, right? Can you hear me? When things aren't feeling like they used to, that one of the things that's hard for you is you feel like you can't be the generous person that you are. Am I understanding that right? I think she's gonna try to push on mute.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know how generous you are. I know how giving you are. And when we get ourselves in these mind states that, our thoughts
Can you
really
hear
try
me?
to.
Can you hear me?
Mhm. Yeah. Well,
Okay, because you guys were all frozen.
there you
But
go. I can hear you
yeah,
now.
that's true.
Right? Because there's something so beautiful in the feeling of being able to give to another human being and have them receive it. And it gives you such value, right? Can you hear me? Yeah. And we want to know that part of us. We want that part of us
Yeah.
to be alive. Yeah. It's still there, Simone. It's still there. I so feel it. It's coming back. Right? I've seen it. It's beautiful. It's still there. It's coming back.
Yeah.
And we love that you're here with us. Right?
Thanks.
So it's pretty, I mean, if that's any way of us, realizing when we do something for others, the satisfaction, it's when the motivation is for others, we get what we're looking for when our motivation is for ourselves. It's so ironic. It's so backwards. But if we're willing to just try that, to say, instead of worrying about me and caring about, what if I just woke up in the morning and said, I want to do something for others? We will feel it when they feel it from us. It will pay us so much more than anything when we're just serving ourselves. You guys ready to do a little meditation together? I'm going to keep it just on breathing and really focused breathing so that we can have focus. Okay. Marie, don't meditate right now. So if you want to get yourself, we'll do a short meditation together and we'll set.
Thanks.
So if we get ourselves into, a position that's straight back, comfortable, in a place where we can feel like we can tune in just for a minute. We don't have that much time left and we will do a little reflecting. So I'm going to guide us into a meditation where we're going to follow our breath. Now, this is from my Tibetan Buddhist meditation teacher from Canada, from a center called Gaiden Samten Ling. And our teacher there we call Kusho. And Kusho invites us to imagine that the breath that we breathe in comes from 1 foot outside of our nose. He's suggesting breathing in through our nose. And that we, with intense focus, breathe in an air through our nose and then down all the way through our spine, all the way down our legs, all the way out our feet, 1 foot in front of our feet. And that was all an inhale. And then we exhale from one foot outside of our toes, back through our feet, up through our legs, up through our spine, and back out through our nose. Now, when I first was doing this, it was like, I don't have an inhale big enough to follow this. And it's a nice, very slow one. But what I'm going to add to this, so I'm going to give you the visual, right? In through my nose, down through my spine, down through my hips, my legs, out my feet, 1 foot. That was an inhale. Exhale, back through my feet, up my legs, up my hips, up my back, out my mouth. That's an exhale. So they're probably good 4 to 5 second breaths that you're doing. And now I'm going to add to this. You're focusing on them so well that it's as if the thinnest spider web is what is taking you through your body. And you're focusing on that spider web of breathing in so thin through the nose, down the back, through the legs, out the feet. Inhale. Exhale, back through the feet, up the legs, up the back, out the nose. Exhale, like you're following a spider web's thread, so focused, okay? I'm going to invite us to do 9 of these, and I'm going to let us kind of guide ourselves, as I'll remind us a little bit, okay? So try to keep your body totally still when you're doing this, just like, whoa, discipline. And we'll go in through our nose, down our spine, following the spider web, down our legs, out our feet. And then we'll exhale back through our feet, up our legs, up our spine, out our mouth. And we'll inhale. Do this at your speed. Follow your breath as you're doing this with the visual. Just follow that really thin thread. Okay, one more up in our nose, down our spine, down our legs, out our feet, and exhale back into our feet, up our legs, up our spine, out our nose. Try to stick with that at a pace that works for you. And following that thread. Whenever you feel like, wow, okay, that was interesting, and you'd like to stop, go ahead and stop. Okay, maybe take your last couple breaths. When you're ready, open your eyes. Look at these beautiful meditators. Would anybody like to share if that helped with focus and how that felt?
I'll just say something real quick, Denise.
Yeah.
I thought it was great because I've always heard you should concentrate on your breathing, but that's not a big visualization, and this was a more dramatic one. So it really helped. Thanks.
Good. Did it help you not think other thoughts because there was something to really focus on?
Most of the time, yes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. How about you, Rachel?
For me, it was beautiful. So I could fall into it quite quickly. But as soon as you started saying, okay, you've got to add the spider web to it as well, it made me slow down my breath because there was an intensity to it. And so when I added that to it, it was like, wow, this is really slowing it down. And it was starting to hit me kind of emotionally too, because I can be quite fast paced in life. Like, okay, I did that test, but now I got to get to this test, now I got to do this test. And just these last few days, I've just been noticing that about me. And my thoughts have been just to savor the moments in life and just to slow down a little bit more. So even just that little added tidbit of wisdom about the visualization of the spider web was helpful to slow it down just that much more to savor it. So thank you.
Wonderful. I don't know if Simone got to do that. Wen, you want to come share?
Well, I couldn't do the whole thing because we were having a dog cat issue that was happening right here in the living room.
Live.
But I was able to sit down and kind of join in, and I loved it. I just, for me, like the going up and down the body with the breath, it just is so relaxing to me because I always feel like I'm always in my head. And to like it almost feels like I'm bringing it all down, all down throughout all of my body parts, and then coming all the way back up and letting it kind of release. And that's always so nice for me to I feel so much more grounded after I do that. So thank you.
They're trying
once
to
the animals settled down.
Thank you. They're trying to share that, the more we practice this, the more easy it will become like a flow, that we're following this tiny little web all the way down us. And he also asked us to notice if it was easier to follow this thread as we inhaled or as we exhaled. And his comment was the same as mine, which it was much easier to follow it on the exhale than it was to keep it really fine on the inhale.
I was the opposite.
Okay.
Then inhale was much easier for me to like visualize it and stick with it. I was like Rachel, like I was going fast at the exhale. I was just like, and then inhale slowed me down.
So this is a great one also for bedtime. Even if you set a motivation before you do it. Actually, I forgot to initiate that for us. If we set a motivation for now, I'm going to take these 9 breaths or several rounds of 9 or 3 or however many you want to do. I'm going to do this so that I can lull myself into a nice comforted sleep so that I can benefit all the others in life when I gotta be a little more enthusiastic about that body, speech, and mind in the morning because I got a good rest, right? So it's a nice one for sleep too. So we went a little bit tonight. Took a little bit of push tonight, and you guys all hung in there, and I super appreciate that. And I'm excited. I am thinking about going to once a week, you guys, because I like every other week, but I also like if you can't make it one, there's still another one the next week. So I'm thinking about that. I'm trying to see if I can get this consistent enough so that it will just like any Monday night that you want, you can hop on and we'll be here so that we can have what we need together. As always, I want to ask for forgiveness if I brought us into an area that was something that didn't feel so right or led to contemplation that felt confusing. Slowly, slowly, and as you're ready and as you're open to it, please take on anything you wish and please reject anything you want to. This is not something I want you to have faith about. It's just, would that do anything different for me? Do I want to test something like that? So please forgive me if anything felt uncomfortable or was confusing. If there's anything that you shared, as always, that you didn't feel comfortable about in any way, please, please, please forgive yourself. Let it go. Let it go. Okay? Know that this community's intention is to hold each other in love, not the perfect parts of us, every single part of us. We're holding each other in love. I'm going to invite us all to really, really take a look at each other right now, all of us. Let's really intend a little bit of love out to each other. It's so special. Thank you. Thank you. And we'll dedicate the beautiful merit that we create together by coming together with such a pure and loving and kind intention, so that all beings everywhere, without exception, including you, may be free from suffering. And may all wars end. Wars with ourselves, wars with others, wars with families, wars with cities and states and anything, family wars, and let's make them all end. Let's let love be the stronger thing. Couldn't do it without you all. You're so special to me. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you in 2 weeks at this point, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Denise.
you.
Everybody.
If-
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night.
Denise.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Love you.
I love you. Love you, Simone.
I think.